Hello folks, this is going to be a replay cast between Apocalypse and Nathanias. Now you might be wondering, Rifkin, why are you solo casting and why are you doing a replay cast? Well, Nathanias and I want to do a cool thing where we cast one of each other's games, so if you want to see my game cast, you can go visit his YouTube channel. We'll link it in the description and put an annotation here on the channel for y'all to check out. But I've actually, thankfully, because it's a replay, gotten to prepare myself a little bit for intros. I will say really quick, I've not seen this game. I'm actually watching it the first time with you. This is like a one-take situation, so we'll see how it goes. And I hope I don't mess up the intro, because I'm not going to go back over it. So in the top left, we've got the red Protoss. It's going to be Apocalypse. But in the bottom right, his dank memes are things of spank dreams. You are all blessed, for I have the pride, the privilege, nay, the pleasure of introducing to you a man beheld by other men. Born a stone's throw from Scranton, Pennsylvania, the caster from Grandmaster, behold, the Dark Lord Nathanias! And my throat is now gone for the next couple days. Now, I guess it's worth noting first off, it's going to be Corsair Carnage Knockout. We got some interesting spawn locations. This is essentially cross spawns. You can't see me, but I did air quotes. Nathanias is actually going to be scouting vertically first because you can unfortunately have your opponent spawn in this location. It's a little more frustrating when you do because it means your third becomes a little bit more complicated. So checking this first guarantees that Nathanias now knows he doesn't really have to worry about that third base dynamic. He'll send the SCV over here to scout Apocalypse, who I'm trying to remember. This sounds really familiar. This isn't the Korean Apocalypse, so the Terran player that people know. I believe actually we've seen him in the CSL. He's a Masters League Protoss. He wasn't too bad over there. And, you know, in the history of watching Nate, Protoss has definitely not been one of his favorite things to play against. Now, let's see how this game actually plays out. I personally do not love Corsair Carnage Knockout to play on, but I've loved watching people play on it. I think it produces some interesting games. With the rocks being changed to the main, that's certainly changed things up quite a bit too. But what I enjoy most is initially just these spawn locations indicate that we'll probably have some sort of 3-base scenario go on. So for either Nathanias' or Apocalypse's sake, that could be a good thing. It's worth noting, though, we are seeing a significant rise in Terran all-ins. A couple of 2-base builds out of Drunken Boy here and there with that command center floated over to the third much later have kind of proved how strong those can be. In fact, Moss emulating a couple of those as well. I think Nathanias is an absolutely fantastic player. He really caught my heart. Like, I knew Nathanias could play the game, but it was like a WCS qualifier. He, like, proxy Thor dropped Xenocider. It was hilarious. He won, and that was when I was like, okay, Nathanias has got some game. But he's gotten better since then. He streams a lot. He actually on stream tends to play a little bit more of like a more laid back style, less aggressive, more like almost akin to just turtling when he can. I think he's made mention too, just saying it's easier to stream like that, but that might also just be his preference. We'll see what he does. He's opening with a Widowmine drop, however. This is really great for a couple of different reasons, but the number one being that it will give you that ability to scout. It has the potential to do a bit of damage. But it's also not something that tends to be too dedicated, so he still hasn't started an expansion yet, but I imagine after the medevac swords across the map, we'll probably be seeing something coming down. Of course, with his SCV, though, he did scout that Apocalypse took a Nexus pretty quick, so he knows that he can't wait too long, unless Nate's going to turn this into some sort of weird one-base all-in. I guess, in fairness, we've seen some Liberator/Cyclone builds that have done that, but it really doesn't seem like that's the direction he's going. He does have a Liberator coming, though. He might use that for harass, he might use that for defense. I'm unsure yet, we'll find out soon. But keeping an eye on the production tab for when that command center starts up, because you can play off one base for quite a bit of time, and if you can get enough damage done, it'll warrant your slower uptake to income. Actually, are income graphs going to work? No, because I guess this wasn't played on the BaseTradeTV mod. Anyways, double wood mines unloaded right away, but Apocalypse seeing this pulls back, so not much damage getting done here. In fact, wonderful baits out of the Protoss in this instance. Marine's going to kind of find some struggles fighting, just decides to pick up instead. There is an Observer out, so this Widowmine will... Oh, kill the Observer, actually. Oh, no. That's going to suck. He's doing some fancy Marine micro, kind of cool to see. Trying to juke out the projectiles of the Adepts, but getting the splash damage on the Observer is actually pretty huge. It's tantamount to why these Widowmines are not being cleaned up. He's going to split up his Widowmines. I can't believe how quick he was to pick that other one up, by the way. That was impressive. But only a couple of workers have died, so really this hasn't been the craziest drop. Might be able to bait out an overcharge here. No, the Mothership Core alone is just going to kill it. She still overcharges, but Nate keeps the medevac alive, and I think that's probably the most important aspect of this, keeping that for round 2. Still hasn't started a command center up back at home. Pretty oversaturated, though, and he's still producing SCVs, so this tells me, it really feels like he's either getting ready to pull the boys, which is just not a thing people do anymore, or he might be looking towards taking an expansion, just transferring the SCVs over after. There we go. I was just like, he's not going for like a crazy tank push. Like, why would you not, why did you just keep all the SCVs like that? The Marine push was kind of a cute idea for the follow-up. It kind of fails miserably, though. Sorry to say, Nathanias, if you're watching this. But the Liberators did a great job denying the probes. 1 or 2, actually, you would need, I think 3 is the magic number to get back here to build a pylon to send that off. But Apocalypse is going to use some jukey action here instead, which is kind of cute to see. I've never actually seen anyone out micro Liberator, but it does look like it's possible. So only 1 Stalker goes down, and that didn't even technically need to go down. Another Liberator comes towards the main, but it did deny some mining. So Apocalypse is still on worse mining than Nathanias' 1 base, and a lot of that has to do with the denial. Some more are going to come down here as probes get killed and pulled away. Sticks him back on 1 base mining. One of, I think, the more important aspects of this is it could disrupt gas mining, which I think is going to matter to a Protoss player a little bit more than minerals, but while the fusion core is coming down, I don't quite think we're going to see the hype of battle cruisers. Most likely going to be for Liberator range, as he's been continuing to use these. I guess it's a fair note, too. For those who don't really know Nathanias too well, his YouTube channel has quite a few tutorials on them, and one of them is specifically regarding Liberators and, quote, how he got them nerfed. So this is a unit he's certainly well-versed in using, I guess we could say. That's actually, what happened to that War Prism? It's got to be able, oh, it's right here on top of the mineral. I'm looking right at it. I was gonna say it could shuffle around and deal with some Liberators if they're close enough, but he's really playing safe with this. Back on the other side of the map, though, still doesn't have that natural base down. He does start putting down that extra production. His SCV count is out of this world, but he can't really make much use of it. Not until that natural base is down. I mean, it's kind of getting to this point where it's so overmined out, he might not actually take a third, just strictly with the intention of lifting the command center over to his third later. Either way, continuing to harass with double Liberators now. Ooh. Liberator range is about halfway finished, so he's not going to be able to get too much use out of it right now. But the idea is that you do want to be able to stay outside of the range of the pylon and that photon overcharge. Kind of leapfrogging forward a little bit. Nothing going on in the main while this happens. And back at home, building up a respectable amount of tanks. He's also got a bunker down. I guess he was really, really, really afraid of that War Prism that disappeared a while ago. Because everything here at home just says he's worried about some sort of attack. Now, it's not going to be an attack coming through the front like maybe he had predicted, but Liberator's sent off to chase after the War Prism. Getting that killed is actually a bigger deal than the Adepts. They'll kill a couple of SCVs, certainly, but the Warp Prism gets picked off, which is also going to just give you some peace of mind as a Terran player. That medevac from earlier is still just kind of chilling in the middle of the map, not really doing too much. And while this goes on, Stargate does finally start off for Apocalypse, saying he's sick of these Liberators. Mother flipping Liberators, so he'll be able to get some Phoenix out to deal with that or something. Kind of a coy note to mention, we've seen quite a few games on this map, and I've even seen a couple get split along the sides, but and that's in pro games, of course, but here I don't know if we'll see the gold base taken. We still haven't. The only time we've seen this base taken, actually, was Shboom in our free-for-all sub-battle. Was able to secure the gold. It's kind of funny to see. But denying more mining, and as we can see, it's going to hurt a little bit for Apocalypse, but Nate having been so late, hey, that rhymes, to this base, really costs him. Now, there's bunkers put up here, actually. This is a little bit astonishing. Some Marines are trapped within them. Can't escape. But looks like between 3 tanks and the bunkers, he's going to hold this position just dandy. In fact, that's going to really scare Apocalypse back with the front of his army getting bust up so badly. Main base is really out of minerals, though, and I don't if he's going to take a third on location or what the deal is, but Nathanias is certainly a bit hungry, we'll say. His army supply lacks, but more importantly, his upgrades just simply aren't there. I love what he's doing with the Liberator. I love the idea of dedicating to this harass, but the attention he's had to dedicate to said Liberators, the attention he's had to give these Liberators has certainly cost him a bit in macro. I mean, again, his +1 hasn't even, there we go, only just starts as I'm saying it. Meanwhile, his opponent's on +2 armor. Now, the reason this is a big deal is some of you guys may remember there was a big period of time in Wings of Liberty where you would just see Zealots with +3 and nothing could touch them. You know, back then, tanks weren't really utilized. You didn't have Widow Mines and, of course, no Liberators. So that was a prime example of when you could see the strength of upgrades. And I think we're going to see that here. +2 starts up for weapons out of Apocalypse. I actually really wish we'd see him invest in the +3 armor, but if he's going for weapons, he may be thinking more like Immortals and Stalkers and less about things like Charge Lots and Adepts. I do think, though, that regardless, if he's worried about Nathanias' bio, Storms are going to be the best answer in every single situation. And you know what? I'll take this one step further. If you're a player investing in Liberators, or rather, excuse me, if you see a player investing in Liberator, chances are they're not putting too much money into Medivacs. So again, Storms become even stronger. But production does kick up. This is a really slow uptake. I mean, Nathanias, whether he intended to start this game off as a one base all-in or not, it's kind of the direction it went. But with Ghost Academy finishing up here soon, I'm not so worried about nukes, but more about the EMPs. These will take care of said storms that we were worried about. Where is he? I don't know where that scan went down, actually. Oh, middle of the map, I guess? No, that's the Marine. Well, not sure what the scan was looking for. There's not really a lot to reveal. I guess the third base maybe was what he was confirming. Let me actually check that. Yeah, it's looking over that way, maybe. At any rate, +3 weapon armor upgrades going to be starting up here. Nice chrono boost going into it. Nathanias still not even on 1-1. He'll be on 1-0, while his opponent is on 2-3, and that's gonna sting. I guess one of the kind of cool things we see noting, though, is there's a lot of bunkers coming down for Nathanias. I mean, you put 2 over here. This already is more bunkers than you see on average. This is like the opposite of a Marine King currently going on. 2 bunkers go on this side because I guess he's really afraid of these rocks being torn down and getting flanked. I don't blame him. We all know Terran players really lose the game when it comes to their production, but the rocks knocked down at the front were more peace of mind than anything else. They're really not going to stop an Immortal army for very long. 60 damage a shot. Yeah, those rocks go down pretty quick. Liberator's going to help siege up for this, kind of like a turret. Third base gets taken from Apocalypse, so he's going to be heading over there with a bit of a drop, and we'll see if he can get much done with this. But again, I want to really reiterate, there's not a lot of weapon upgrades, so even these probes are going to be benefiting from the armor. I'm really excited to see the Ghost usage, though. That Adept's been chilling for a while. The Warp Prism left it off because I guess he wanted to see if Nate takes a third. This is a considerably late third, by the way. Again, with the way the game's gone, this wasn't really an economy game for Nathanias. So much focus into Liberators and so much focus on drops. The Widow Mines failed earlier. Like, this was really meant to do a lot of damage. Now, I'm surprised because this very small amount of bio, this Commando squad, may actually snipe this Nexus. If we're going to be frank, I don't think 2 Marauders and 3 Marines should ever kill a Nexus. And it doesn't get out of there, but that is some cost benefit right there. Look at the resources lost, obviously a little bit in the favor of Nathanias, but for somebody who's so late to his own third, very important that he got that kill. Now, of course, his main's pretty much just primarily mining gas, but there's that storm we were discussing earlier. That's going to be a bit of a chaos causer, I guess we could say. The medevac count really isn't that high, sitting on 2, but the Liberator production, while not great up until this point, is finally starting up. There's a very important dynamic when it comes to TvP. When you use Liberators, you kind of have to leapfrog them forward. You know, when you're playing against Zerg a lot of the time, or even rarer cases versus Terran, you'll see a lot of Terran players just actually move forward with the Liberators and siege them on the go. With how strong Blink Stalkers are and how abruptly and quickly they can close that gap, you have to have Liberators covering your Liberators. So, for Nathanias' sake, it's going to be really hard to actually get those out in the field. This drop in the main, though, getting quite a bit of damage done, picking off some more of these probes, getting the +2 armor, as we can see, taking a while for Marines to chip away at them. Looks like the Liberator did not quite kill that Warp Prism. Oh, Nate's using the female Ghost skin, too, by the way. Just a quick shout-out to that from the Nova Covert Ops missions. Kind of cool to see. But EMP ready and available, can use this on anything he'd like. Strip the shields away immediately. Not a huge necessity. I guess worth noting, you can't snipe any of these units. They're mechanical. I don't know why you can't steady, because it's not even called snipe. It's called like steady aim or something. Steady targeting. Like what? A mechanical unit's vibrating too hard. You can't see it. I don't know. He gets a nice EMP on the Templar though. Got to give some comments to that. So no storms available here. Gets the shields off the Immortal, but of course they're gonna have barrier, so that's not that big of a deal. The Liberator count, though, kind of sparse. Nathanias' army supply, actually, in general, this game hasn't been that hot. A lot of it's been used for harass, and that's kind of got him in sweet spots for this game, but with Void Rays in play and a Phoenix patrolling, I don't think he's going to get any more cool Liberator positions. And this makes me really worried, because that army supply, again, the weapon upgrades, the armor upgrades, they've been behind, if he's able to turtle up, like, this is so weird to see bunkers. They're like, I'm almost wondering, like, are we going to see the bunker upgrade? You just don't see players using bunkers late game. And this doesn't come from, like, my shitty ladder experience. This comes from casting Bunny and Keen and Reality, like, really good Terrans. So am I saying Nathanias is doing it wrong? No, but absolutely not. It's let him sit in this position where he's down in army supply for so long. So kudos on the bunkers. It's kind of cool to see. But it is abnormal to see nonetheless. Looks like he salvaged all of them at this point, so just looking to continue to open pathways. I'm wondering if this is the direction he'll take a fourth. Because you know, this will put you a little bit closer to Apocalypse, and that's a little bit concerning. But this is a shallow choke, so you can set a Liberator on the ramp. You can build a planetary fortress. I mean, it's your fourth and it's justified. I mean, that'd be cool to see. He's heading northwards with a large portion of the army, but I do want to once again indicate just how low the medevac count is. Whether it gets feedback from a Templar or picked off with Blink or just a Photon Overcharge, there's really not that much of escape, much less drop potential going on here. But the rocks are going to be knocked down, the debris, excuse me. Meanwhile, Nathanias might get flanked from behind. His sensor tower does see the army coming, though, so he's going to know to get in and get the hell out. He could actually set the Liberators up behind him if he'd like. I think that would actually be a really cool move. Not going to do that, though, so I take it back. The Photon Overcharges are actually kind of wrecking. This has been unfortunate. A couple Liberators go down immediately. He's putting his emphasis on the wrong side of the ramp, though, so maybe he didn't actually see the army. Oh, no! He's got some EMPs ready to go. Could hit the Archons, sopping them up, make them easy kills. Liberator's on the wrong side of the ramp, too. This is not good for Nathanias. He's going to lose so much of his army, which, again, already really low in supply. Did he send me a game where he loses? I mean, Jesus. Who does that? Oh, this is cool. We actually have the middle of the map being taken. So this is really bold for Apocalypse. It's still 6 mineral batches, so keep in mind, despite the way this is spread out, this is still an average gold base in the context of what StarCraft 2 is. But what I find interesting is this is this pushes towards Nathanias. This really puts you out there. It exposes you. It can be attacked from all sides. There's watchtowers around it, which I guess he's holding, so I guess with all 4 watchtowers he feels safe. Oh, hey, quick note, that drop from earlier comes back and starts killing some very important tech buildings. Did not expect that. Picks up the flyaway once again. We got Liberate coming on this side. Gonna find the Void Ray, unfortunately. But with so many Marines, he should be able to protect it. Maybe. Does good damage. No, Liberator can help secure the drop zone. So this is about 16 Marines coming in on this side. The medevac up here didn't die, so he could go drop the newly found 5th. Or go back towards the main. Maybe pick off the Templar Archives. Looks like Nate wanted to pull another Pult. Just try and grab another Nexus. Not quite going to happen in this situation. The Immortals and the Archons look like they will drive this back. So unfortunately, if he loses these medevacs, that'd probably be the worst part of this. But he will get them out alive. He's going to float his own 4th over to the base we had talked about earlier. There is a pylon here, however, so a little bit awkward. See if Warpins come. So it's not going to be a planetary fortress. A little bit sad to see. That is actually... Oh, I didn't realize this is Maine. Made the long journey to come up here towards the north. So this has been a pretty scrappy game from Nathanias. I want to note, though, that here we are about, what is this, 18 minutes in, and we've got 3 weapon upgrades for the bio. The armor's kind of negligible, because if we're going to be honest, Storms kind of negate armor, Archon Blasts are so big, armor's not that much of a factor. But the weapon upgrades are whether he can even contest the armor upgrades of his opponent or not. So again, I really like this. He's not really invested in the Liberators yet. It's worth noting, Liberators and +3 weapon upgrades get like 100 damage per shot. It's kind of a big deal. But accidentally attacks one of his own units. There's a lot of Templar. Oh, he's got to land one of these EMPs. More bunkers coming down is a cute idea this late in the game. I think Immortals will just tear through them, but we'll see what happens. How many ghosts are here? There's what, 2? 2 ghosts in play. If he lands the sickest EMP on these Templar, or snipes them even, this could really go well in his favor. He's double engineering to block this. It's not going to buy a lot of time, but it will buy time. That's kind of cute to see. Meanwhile, it looks like he does get an EMP on a pretty good number of the Templar. This does, however, force out Archons. This was kind of unfortunate. Like, if you snipe the Templar, they straight up die, and that's cool. If you EMP them, then they just turn into Archons, require even more EMPs. It's a bit of a bummer. But this Liberator position's so sick, there's no way Stalker's going to get on top of this. The Archons don't have the range for it. They're going to pick off quite a few units on the retreat, and the worst part about retreating is they get stuck on the corner! So many things just died that should not have died. Nathanias, in the meantime, is going to drop on this Nexus. Snipe Baroni, as this is actually Apocalypse's This is going to be his new mining base. He's almost out of mining. His main's empty. His natural's empty. His third, I guess he took so long to take this base. It's about half mined out. It's not super great. The middle is certainly mining out quickly, though, on account of it being gold. Has Nathanias not actually seen the gold in the middle, by the way? No, he knows about it. Okay, there's drop set up to go perhaps do something about it. But constantly dancing through the map. And I like this style of terrain play where you can actually get around your opponent. So many times there's like a Templar sitting on the cliff. There's Blink Stalkers waiting for you to drop those units and come to the main so they can pick you off. But I guess confident in his bunker slash siege tank slash liberator hold, Apocalypse can't break that ramp. Nathanias breaks the Nexus in the middle of the map, so that's boom, 2 important mining bases going down in a matter of about a minute. Liberator's still got this really sick position on the rocks. It's just, they're always going to take damage. Like, anything that passes through this area is going to take damage. The medevac's going to load up. I guess they do so in a weird order, so the Marauder can't get back in? What? Okay. Probes transferring around. This is, I want to point out, this is Apocalypse's only mining base. Looks like these medevacs are going to... That right there. That right there is why it sucks trying to do drops as Terran. So no feedbacks in play, but the Marauder heavy medevac drops going down. That took away a good chunk of Nathanias' supply, but this game has really been a very slow tug-of-war, and so much of it's had to do with the army supply. Not a lot else, because, I mean, Nathanias, for, I would say, 80% of this game, was on, like, a, like, 0.88%, like, I don't know. He was not quite matching his opponent's army supply. Now he's starting to stim around. He's getting his opponent off guard, dropping and attacking multiple locations. Picks off the Templar Archive, so he's not going to have to worry about storms for a little while, much less Archons. I can't imagine these Marauders are going to live very long. It's like their last possible stim coming out. Yeah, like gets them killed. Another base expands down here to the bottom. Nate currently scanning to see where the other bases are coming into play. Scan here as well. Didn't get to see anything, as the only new Nexus is here on the leftmost side of the map, but I don't know. Like, okay, so I questioned moments ago joking, like, did he send me a losing replay? A lot of the time, if you're going to send somebody a replay, you usually send them your best replay, right? I'm still not on the fence that he's going to necessarily take this game by storm. Again, going to the medevac count, 3. 9 liberators. There's just not a big army for Nathanias, but it's big enough to fight, and I think that's what matters most. These guys are too scared to go through the liberation zone. They could easily pass through it. It's like 1 or 2 liberators, but blinking forward, this is going to get the liberators on the north side. Oh, it's going to catch some extra liberators too, but while this goes on, we got the attack coming in the main, going to pick off all the gateways. Deep power is about half of with the pylons going down. Liberator escorting this medevac drop. Oh, nope. Nope. Okay, take it back. Bunkers end up holding. A second line of bunkers was made to fall back into, I guess. Okay, that looks weird. Command center's floating northward, so he's just tearing down everything here that what was once Apocalypse's main. Meanwhile, it looks like this drop down here is going to load on top of the Nexus. 3 Marauders, 3 Marines. This could certainly get some work done if they attack it. The Liberator's also going to make sure any probes that come by get picked off, or Zealots to try to get on top of this. But Nathanias is a little bit low on everything, so priority's got to go on expanding and getting these bases up. Macro's kind of hard to consider. This is an extraordinarily long TvP. I mean, 22 minutes in is certainly longer than your average TvP. He's going to snipe some probes while this goes on. The Nexus should go down. I see the question marks. He's going to cut the Zealots a bit. Liberator helps take care of those. He's going to try and focus on the Nexus, set around it. This pickoff's kind of huge. Apocalypse has got money to build another one, but time is of the essence. As this is, again, his only base mining. It's been his only base mining for a very long time. So trying to replace much of what he's lost this game has been incredibly difficult. Nathanias, on the other hand, getting ghosts out. He's still mining like a beast. I was going to say boss. A beast boss. A boast. Drops the Mule Hammer here at this base. This one's still got minerals simulating from him. This one's still mining. Random siege tank, probably move somewhere else. Random command center not doing anything. A little bit here and there, but oh, Liberators don't get caught. Oh, Liberators don't get caught. He can't really afford to replace these. He can put like maybe 3, 5 at most, but the engineering bays go down. They're of course blocking. The rocks here on the left side also going to go down. Were once blocking, but the Liberator is going to try and hold this ramp, I guess, for the most part. Still attacking to the north. Small drops, small Marauder squads. EMP is going to hit most of this army. Kind of cute to see, but is that going to stop anything? He's got a bunker full of Marines in the main. Totally going to work over here. It's not. This is, you know, actually, maybe this is why he's tipping the replay. He's getting a little bit base tradey at this point. Base trade hype. Attacks over here are going to start picking off. I really don't think Apocalypse is thinking too much on army at this point, though. I think he knows his money situation and his army game has just been screwed for a while. So to try and force out a base trade, I don't think is a terrible idea. But he's doing this against a player that he knows has Liberators. He doesn't know that Nathanias only had like 9 at most, but he's going to pick off 2 more in the main. Starport's going to get picked off. Nathanias could start maybe trying to put down extra production buildings, but he's supply blocks, so it wouldn't even matter right now. We are actually in base trade territory, but it's 4 Marauders versus Archons. That's not going to work. So now Nathanias has only got the defense to focus on. His 82 army supply is not bad, considering a good chunk of its Liberators. He's actually going to bring these in from behind. That's a bit too dangerous. As mentioned before, you need something to cover the Liberators. If the Blink Stalkers just go underneath them and focus them down. I guess, excuse me, I didn't realize he had actually built extra starports and barracks over here. So his production's not too bad. He's going to build new production up here. This is where I thought everything was going to go, because the focus and shift of the game is turning more northwards. Both players have lost their mains, and both players have essentially just kind of run out of where they should be on the map. Liberator's going to try and focus on the Mothership Core. I think it's more annoying than a great snipe, but definitely don't die for it. So falls back from the Archons. Could set up over the mining bases. Ooh, he could actually deny a lot of mining right now. Right now, I mean, it's a harrowing situation for both. Nobody's got a lot of money. Every loss counts. Apocalypse, because he doesn't really have the tech to replace a lot of it. Nathanias, because he doesn't really have the supply, or I guess he's got money. It really does suck. I don't think he's realized supply is going to be his biggest issue right now, because he's still got enough army on the map that I do believe we're focused here on a little bit more for the micro and a lot less for the macro out of Nathanias. So, yeah, production just coming down, but he's not going to be able to build anything. Only just barely catches up to supply. Anyways, this point aside, the Ghosts are tearing down the Nexus, not that big of a deal. Whereas Nathanias could hold up in his third, so can Apocalypse. Both players have lost their mains and naturals, just kind of as a fun point to this game. But as he advances forward, there's a lot of EMPs available. Of course, if EMPs hit Archons, Archons just become these big squishy babies. So that's a big concave, though. Apocalypse coming from behind. Nathanias probably going to lose what little army he has. That medevac going to go down as well. This will free up supply for him, weirdly enough. So it was terrible losing the army, but his army supply back at home looks like it's enough to defend. Again, there's tanks, there's Liberators. Everything's just scattered all over the map. Not a single planetary made, by the way. I guess that might not matter at this point. If you're worried about Immortals, just, like, wrecking your shit. But Liberators are completely denying mining at one of the bases, not the other. I am astonished Apocalypse has been mining off that base for so long, by the way, but looks like this orbital, or sorry, just regular command center, excuse me, is going to go down. That's unfortunate. Liberator set up at the ramp. I love this depot block that he's trying to go for. There's rocks that make this hard to do, but if there's nothing that can push into the Liberators, there's nothing to kill them. And yes, you could argue Stalkers could blink under them, but the idea is that the Immortals and the Marauders are busy engaging one another, so there's nothing to really shoot this, or even the Archons. There's nothing to shoot the Stalkers that focus down the Liberators. So that supply depot wall, even though all it does is box them out, it does box out the important units to box out. 3 Marauders down here to the south. I guess going to try and chip away at this. I think his starport was flying, but it burned down. You could actually reclaim his reactor if you'd like to. Build some more Marines, but I guess we finally have 3-3 finished up. Not a lot of tech, actually, funny enough, out of Nathanias. Just Liberator range and 3-3 for the most part. Tears down these walls, going to buy himself a little more time. Still trying to get that supply count up. I think he finally glued in to help with supply block he was, so this actually accidentally helped him, whether he realized it or not. Liberator setting up around these mineral lines, wants to keep denying mining. I think at this point, Nathanias has a good idea that his opponent's running low on cash, because every time he sees this army, it really is the same army. Like, he's not seeing an extra layer of 40 Zealots. There's no, oh shit, there's a ton of Adepts. Like, this army really has not grown in size, and that's definitely not because Apocalypse is supply blocked. It's because he's kind of mining blocked, just completely locked out by these Liberators. In fact, these 2 mineral patches appear to be his only income. Yeah, 251 minerals. Jesus. Literally like 100 times that. 10 times that? 10 times that, because that's how math works. I guess even when you're just doing a chill replay recording, don't do math on stream, guys. But while this goes on, I mean, the ghost count continues to rise. This is going to be great for EMPs. The Liberator's going ham. Nate burning a bunch of scans to see what's going on, trying to find that army. This one drop over here is going to be a little bit scary to deal with. Yeah, okay, so that gets cleaned up pretty quickly. This, I mean, that's the thing. Archons just are kind of beast mode. They're really not going to be hard to clean up. But, it's such a weird stalemate situation to be in. They've rotated the map. They're both on 3 bases that neither of them really had secured early on. I guess you could argue Apocalypse had this third for a while, sure, whatever, but this was really more of the focus for him for a long time. So as they continue to just rotate around the map, the funny thing is, like, they are going to run out of money. Nathanias, I think, a little bit sooner than Apocalypse. I guess when we look at the resources lost, it is a little bit heavier for Nate, but a lot of that has to do with the way he's been trading this game. We still out of medevacs, by the way? They're still doing 2 medevacs. Okay, so he's still going to be able to drop. I was thinking in the medevacs, though, less about just dropping randomly and more so on shuffling the tanks around. Be able to bring these with him, but oh my god, these ghosts are going to be so sick. They don't have cloak, and that kind of sucks, and their auto attack is good. They got some health. They can take hits, but the fact that he's got... How many EMPs is that? That is at least 8 EMPs. You can't not kill... Like, if Nate doesn't land an EMP on every unit in this army, I will be shocked. Let's see, well, I guess you could argue he kills them first. So yeah, EMP's just hitting everything. Archon's up with only 10 health. Immortals without their shields. No barrier. Everything on cooldown. Not looking good for poor Apocalypse, who's on his last gas. 600 minerals. No chance to survive. GG, it's gold. And Nathanias will take the game. I hope you guys enjoyed this cast, though. If you want to see a game of mine cast by Nathanias, make sure to head over to his YouTube channel. Again, I'll put the link in the description. It's youtube.com/I think just Dark Nathanias. This is going to be an awkward as hell annotation here if I was wrong about this, though, correcting myself. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully you'll enjoy my game over on his channel. I'll see you later. Bye!